What's up everyone, Tommy with Studio Sense here. Hope you're having a fantastic day, and I hope that stopping by and watching my video today makes your day even better. Do you remember when you were gifted your very first fragrance? You sprayed probably too much on, you walked out the door and you had that confident swagger because you felt like $1,000,000. And chances are you probably smelled like $1,000,000 as well. That happens to be the subject of today's video, is how to smell like $1,000,000 without feeling like you spent $1,000,000. High quality doesn't always equal high price. Often that is the case, but not always. And in today's video, I've got 10 examples where that's actually the case. Great quality scents that'll make you feel just like you did when you wore your very first fragrance, like $1,000,000. So when we come back, we're gonna go over these 10 fragrances, that and more, so stay tuned. Hey guys, and welcome back. 10 fragrances for men to make you feel like $1,000,000 without having to spend $1,000,000. That's the subject of today's video. We do have 10 fragrances to go through. Let's go ahead and dive into our list. Our very first fragrance comes from a house that in my estimation has busted through that glass ceiling of niche. One of those designer houses that is on the very edge of niche quality. They are Chopard, and the fragrance itself is Chopard's Amber Malachi. Amber Malachi is a warm, lightly sweet, sensual, masculine offering. It was released in 2015 and it opens with a really nice, dark, rich, resinous frankincense and mandarin orange. A little bit of citrus with your dark there. It's just like cream and coffee. It works so well in this open. Then we move into an amber and lightly dry, woody papyrus with a little bit of cistus and bourbon vanilla to encompass the fragrant DNA with a little bit of a warm, casual, or dressed up dry down. That's the wonderful thing about Amber Malachi. You can wear this casually or you can wear it dressed up. Just like I use the term rich to describe the essence of the fragrance, it smells like money. All of these are going to be less than $100, by the way, just so you know, so I don't have to quote the price of each one of them. I will leave a link in the description below if you're interested in picking one of these up though, but they're all going to be under $100, but smells like you spent so much more. Chopard's Amber Malachi. Our next fragrance is going to make you feel like $1,000,000 but isn't super expensive. Came out in 2016 from the house of Valentino. It is Valentino Uomo Intense. Valentino Uomo Intense has one floral note that gives it that intense, and that is iris. Iris is a very sharp, pungent floral note, but it doesn't smell feminine. It's got a really masculine bent to it, and when you add black leather, clary sage, some other fragrant notes and spices, like a leather jacket that you spent $400 on, that's what this reminds me of. And if you like iris, you're gonna love just how this pulls off iris. One of the more masculine iris-centered fragrances, similar to Christian Dior Homme, Valentino Uomo Intense. Following on the heels of Valentino Uomo Intense is another fragrance that's similar to it because it does carry iris, but it's a softer side of iris. It's more of a luxury, laundered, clean vibe that is a perfect office scent. And if every man who is interested in fragrance in whatever capacity doesn't have this as part of his collection, he needs to run out and get it right now. That is Prada L'Homme. Prada L'Homme is one of those fragrances. Again, it came out 2016, the same year that Valentino Uomo Intense did. Iris is a fragrant note, again, that has got a very nice masculine side to it. Prada L'Homme scent profile is also subsidized by amber. You've got a very forward geranium in this as well. A little bit of pepper to give it volume, some violet and cedar. Now, the combination of iris and violet are best combination. Iris and violet work so well together. This is a very attenuated iris violet fragrance, and that's what makes Prada L'Homme smell so rich. It smells like someone who knows how to pick out the right thing to get the right theme going, and that is feeling like $1,000,000. Our next feel like $1,000,000 but don't spend it is a fragrance designer that is well known for creating fragrances that are just fantastic on a budget. It's kind of cool to be known for something like that because it's almost like a magic trick. Like, why can't everybody do that? Create a fantastic, iconic fragrance that costs $30 as opposed to $300. Of course, the designer I'm talking about is Jesus Del Pozo, and the fragrance I'm referring to is Gold Cedar Nights. As part of his Nights collection, there's tobacco, amber, there's several of them, and they're all really good. So if you wanted to choose one of those in lieu of this one, the particular reason I like this is cedar is a classic smell. It's a classic wood smell in a fragrance. When you highlight that with other notes that work really well with cedar, like cinnamon, bergamot, cardamom, and coffee in the open, nutmeg, cedarwood, praline, and patchouli in its heart, resting on a base of amber, cedarwood, vanilla, and musk. So you kind of see where this is going. Why am I talking about a fragrance that is dark, rich, and a little bit heavy in the middle of summertime? Because I believe that if you want to smell like $1,000,000, you have to wear a fragrance that is not expected. And when you wear this in the middle of summer, I'm not talking about in the middle of the summer heat that you spray 6 sprays of this on and go trolling outside for compliments. I'm talking about opportunities that you have to go where people are, like to a restaurant, to a play, to a movie, to wherever, where someone's gonna smell this on you and they're gonna think, that guy knows what's up. That guy has it going on. That guy's wallet must be 6 inches thick because his fragrance smells like he's got money. This, out of all of the Nights collection by Jesus Del Pozo, this one is probably my favorite. It has such a rich, refined quality about it. It's like when you see a guy wearing a Rolex, but he's got a really nice suit on too. You think of somebody that can make really good decisions with their money and they know what looks good together. That's what people are gonna think when they smell this on you. Now this next fragrance is one that of course I had to include in this list simply because of the name, but more than the name, because of the rich heritage that it has. Of course I'm referring to Paco Rabanne's 1,000,000 Lucky. Of course if you want to smell like $1,000,000, you can't do much better than wearing something that's called 1,000,000 Lucky. Now again, some people are going to say, why would you wear 1,000,000 Lucky in the middle of summertime? This actually contains some notes that work really well with a little bit of heat. There's some ozonic notes in here. When a little bit of heat hits that hazelnut, that super inviting aroma comes to the fore, and it never really edges into the edible gourmand territory. It smells extremely masculine and extremely rich. Subsidized by grapefruit, bergamot, honey, cedar, a really nice, smooth, lightly dusty cashmere wood in here, jasmine, orange blossom, amber, patchouli, and I think a little cedar as well. Now, if you wanted to use 1,000,000 Parfum in 1,000,000 Lucky's place, you could. Just be aware that this is a little bit higher register. It's a lot more sweet, and it's got more of kind of a youthful club vibe and energy to it, but there's nothing wrong with that. To me though, 1,000,000 Lucky has more of a richer heritage behind it and a little bit more money feeling in terms of someone who is the CEO of their own business would be more inclined to wear this, whereas the son of the CEO, the playboy, would be wearing this. Our next scent to make you feel like $1,000,000 without actually spinning it is a refined evolution of a fragrance DNA. It was released in 2021. It is, of course, from Giorgio Armani. It is Armani Code Eau de Parfum. Now, Armani Code Eau de Parfum is a fantastic fragrance that everyone already knows and loves out there. What they've done with the newer version, the EDP, is they've refined that formula a little bit to make it just slightly more aristocratic. So to me, it already smelled like money to a degree. It already had that kind of rich, powdery, balsamic darkness to it. And then they've just added a refinement, streamlined that fragrance DNA to where it contains the same energy, it's just a little bit more hyper versatile. So you can wear this in more situations. Such a welcome open of bergamot, lemon, and orange with a spicy floral mix of rosemary and lavender in the heart, resting on that well-known powdery base of cedar, musk, and tonka bean absolute. Now the tonka bean in this is where you get that really sweet, dark, rich, creamy, powdery that is again subsidized or backed up by the other notes in it. If you want to feel and smell like $1,000,000, you can't get much better than Giorgio Armani's Armani Code Eau de Parfum. Our next like $1,000,000 fragrance enters oud territory. Now I'd never normally recommend wearing an oud, kind of a oud based or centered fragrance in the middle of summertime, but this particular oud is more like a starter oud. It's not the first thing that you notice about this fragrance, but it's the last thing that you remember about it. The fragrance I'm referring to is Boss Bottled Oud. Boss Bottled Oud, it's like for beginners who you don't want to be turned off to an oud fragrance. It's not supremely animalic or too heavy or pungent. It's very light, creamy, and woody. Primarily what they've done is they put oud in the center of the base of this, and then they've kind of surrounded it with some other woods, likely cedar, cypress, and a little bit of saffron to soften the edges. It's kind of like introducing you to the fragrant note of oud in degrees. So you've got a cinnamon degree, you've got some woods in there, and then of course your saffron, and then your oud. This is an extremely pleasant, aromatic, very long-lasting fragrance, but it does smell like you spent so much more money on your fragrance than what you're gonna pay for this. If you don't wanna get the big bottle because you're not a heavy oud wearer, you might wanna get like the 50 ml size. Boss Bottled Oud. One of the best ways to smell like $1,000,000 is to wear something that has a little bit of leather in it. But this next fragrance has just enough leather to let people think that you spent a ton of money when you actually didn't. It is from the house of Tressardi. It is Tressardi My Land. I really like the My Land's presentation. The smaller bottle fits well in your hand, and it's got like a little bit of a leather overlay belt around the sides. It's got a little bit of an embossed graphic on it that's indicative of the My Land's shield or coat of arms. This opens with a bright citrusy green, mandarin orange, and bergamot, a floral heart of cologne, lavender, and violet, resting on a base of tonka bean, vetiver, cashmere, and leather. Similar to Boss Bottled Oud, Tressardi My Land introduces you to the leather in it in evolution of degrees. So it starts out very bright, citrusy, similar to a lot of men's fragrances. Then it gets a little bit of darker, floral, spicy, and then you get the leather in the base, and that's where it stays, and that's where it lasts. I really do love the combination of cashmere wood, cashmere, and leather. Fantastic combination. Guys, if you see that in any fragrance, sample it first, of course, but buy it up. Is that cashmere and leather working as a fantastic duo to make you smell and feel like $1,000,000. Tressardi My Land. Another light leather fragrance that makes people think that you spent a ton more money than what you actually have is from the house of Mont Blanc. It is Mont Blanc Legend Eau de Parfum. There is an Eau de Toilette version of this that came out first, but the refinement that they've done in the Eau de Parfum is so good. Primarily the mix of violet and leather, and it works really well. So it opens with that violet leaf and bergamot. The bergamot goes away right around the heart of the fragrance, but that violet leaf stays. It mixes with some magnolia, some jasmine, and some other woods. Finally, in the base, it kind of entwines itself with the oak moss and the leather, and that's where it stays, and that's what makes this a fantastic, masculine, rich smelling fragrance. That's the dynamic duo that makes this such a great fragrance, is the violet and the leather. All right, guys, our last fragrance in these 10 fragrances is from the house of Coach. And of course, you know what I'm talking about, or hopefully know what I'm talking about, Coach for Men. Now, Coach for Men is the original Coach release. This is their flagship fragrance, and as such, I still feel like it's probably their best release, even though Coach Platinum is my favorite wintertime fragrance from Coach. And Coach Blue is a relatively formidable blue fragrance with that absinthe in it. Coach for Men, though, with that unique smell and the performance to go along with it, is a great, rich smelling fragrance. What makes this unique is the open. So as soon as you spray this on, you get that green nashi pear, you get a little bit of bergamot, and then you get something called kumquat. So it's got a really unique open right away, right out the gate, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna like this. And it just gets better and better. In the heart, you get a little bit of nutty, creamy, sweet cardamom. You've got geranium and some spicy coriander, resting at a base of suede, Haitian vetiver, and ambergris or ambroxan. So this is one of the earlier ambroxan-based fragrances that came out in the I think it was 2017 when this was released. And it kind of started or was involved in the whole ambroxan evolution. It's one of the better ambroxan-based fragrances just because it's not overdone. If you're just starting out in fragrance, Coach is a great introductory fragrance because the price has dropped since it first came out. Coach for Men not only makes you feel like $1,000,000, but it makes you smell like somebody who knows how to spend his money. If you haven't tried it out, it is an absolute safe blind buy. Now you see I've got a smaller bottle, but I have about 2 or 3 of the actual carry with you bottles as well. That's a wrap on my 10 fragrances that'll make you smell like $1,000,000 without actually having to spend $1,000,000. They're all extremely affordable and economical, under $100, won't break the bank, won't cause too much stress to your budget. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you've got any of these fragrances, please let me know in the comments below. Let everyone know what you feel about them. If you feel like others belong in this list that I didn't mention, let us know that as well. Thanks so much for stopping by and watching today's video. As always, thank you so much for your support on my channel. I'm Tommy with Studio Sense, and I'll see you tomorrow.